President Donald Trump has been accused of being sexist. Again. First, we'll take a look at this clip.
How are you? Well, congratulations on your great victory. We have so many people from Ireland in this country. I know so many of them, too. I feel I know all of them. But I just want to congratulate you. That was a great victory that you had. We have a lot of your Irish press watching us. They're just now leaving the room. And where are you from? Go ahead. Come here. Where are you from? Should we have all of this beautiful Irish press? Where are you from?
I'm from RTE News. The
RTE.
Taoiseach will know you. Katrina Perry.
Katrina Perry. She has a nice smile on her face, so I bet she treats you well.
I have to admit, the more time goes by, the more Donald Trump reminds me of Michael Scott. This cued about, a handful of people on social media to accuse Donald Trump of being sexist for calling this woman over like that, and while I would agree it was a bit awkward, it was either A, to stall so he could think of something to say to the person he was talking to on the phone, or B, it was a tactic in order to flatter the person he was talking to on the other side of the phone. So I really wasn't going to even bring all of that up, but I figure it's tangentially related to what I'm about to talk about, which is Donald Trump being called sexist the following day for tweeting out this. I heard poorly rated Morning Joe, tagged his ass in the tweet as well, speaks badly of me. I don't watch anymore. Then how come low IQ Crazy Mika along with Psycho Joe, in reference to Joe Scarborough being involved in an alleged murder earlier when he was, I believe, a senator, but moving on, came to Mar-a-Lago 3 nights in a row around New Year's Eve and insisted on joining me. She was bleeding badly from a facelift. I said no. Professional? Maybe not. But sexist? I'm willing to bet that if a man showed up there with his face bleeding from a facelift, he would have elicited the same reaction. But as you can see, you can just type into Google Trump sexist, and all of these recent articles immediately pop up. All of these articles talking about how sexist he is for this tweet about Mika. I find it interesting, maybe ironic even, that a lot of people on the left idolize JFK when he had an entire room in the White House dedicated to banging supermodels. No shit. And he was, of course, notorious for his adultery, to say the least. And the fact that, well, it was a different time back then. They say that for JFK, but then they hold our founding fathers to a higher level scrutiny than that. And then there's Bill Clinton. First name that comes to mind is Juanita Broaddrick, but then there's also the Kathleen Willey case, who he groped without her consent in a kitchen and was making out with her. Her husband, who I believe was a politician at the time, I can't remember his name or his title, but he saw this, went home and killed himself. And then there's Paula Jones, accused Clinton of exposing himself and sexually harassing her. And this is just from the Wikipedia page. I had to look up what the other two names were, but I remembered Juanita Broaddrick because she was there at the debate, and she just stared at Hillary with eyes like daggers. I haven't seen anything like it, really. Of course, when Bill Clinton was president, he had none other than noted pizza enthusiast John Podesta to help manage his scandal. I'm going to go ahead and read a little bit from the Wikipedia page. Podesta was the first White House staffer to get the news of the Lewinsky scandal and was put in charge of managing the crisis. In 1998, he became President Clinton's chief of staff in the second Clinton administration and executed the position until the end of Clinton's time in office in January 2001. There was that old saying from Watergate, the cover-up is worse than the crime, and while Bill Clinton was president, they were constantly covering up, specifically John Podesta and his crew, covering up any of the sexual assault allegations that were coming his way. The story of the Monica Lewinsky scandal involves a man named Matt Drudge, one man with a computer and a microphone, broke the story of Monica Lewinsky over the course of, I think it was a week, maybe 2 weeks, by dripping out details with sensational headlines. John Podesta, of course, came forward and made a public statement saying, "This is Matt Drudge. This is the Drudge Report, and you can't trust everything you hear in the Drudge Report," I believe is the actual quote. Even with all of the protection that comes against defaming a U.S. president, Matt Drudge was able to break one of the biggest scandals of at least my generation, at least in my opinion. And it wasn't so much, like I said earlier, of the crime itself, but rather the cover-up of the crime. They did everything they could to paint Monica Lewinsky as a stalker, as an isolated incident. And then Matt Drudge just kept waiting for them to make a statement and then dropping some more information to show that they were lying. Sort of like James O'Keefe is doing right now. Accusations of Trump being sexist are about as thin as the accusations that he's been colluding with the Russian government. They're paper thin. You could call Trump sexist all you want, but as soon as you start calling Bill Cosby sexist, you're a suspected white supremacist. You call Bill Clinton a rapist, you're called a conspiracy theorist. I think it's because deep down people like to think that the ends justify the means. Okay, so what? Bill Clinton walked up, pushed a woman up against a countertop, started grabbing her breasts and kissing on her neck. He's not a sexist. But if Donald Trump says this lady's got a nice smile, while maybe not the most professional thing in the world, it's certainly not pushing up a young lady against the wall and groping the fuck out of her, and then her husband walks in and goes and kills himself. I think it's a bit of a stretch to say that they're even in the same ballpark. Wouldn't you agree? And then there's Vince Foster that we could bring up. Apparently, and this surprisingly didn't get talked about at all over the last year, there was a special investigator investigating a murder that potentially could have involved President at the time, Bill Clinton, regarding a man named Vince Foster. Now, I don't know all the details about it, but I think it's amusing to think about all of the things, all the dirt he was up to, and yet he receives fairly low criticism. There is no better way to end this video than by showing you this clip featuring our former vice president. By the way, volume alert, it'll be a little loud and then it'll get quieter. You'll see why.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, well, nice to see you guys. Thank you. See you back home, I hope.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay? Thanks, pal.
Thank you.
But anyway, that's all I've got. I apologize if this was a bit of a scatterbrained video. I just kind of had a lot of ideas, and I didn't exactly know how to get them all out, so I just kind of bullet pointed everything that was in my head. I've been drinking a lot of caffeine today, so hopefully tomorrow's videos won't be so erratic. But let me know what you think in the comments section, and I'll see you all later.